see. Testing, testing. 1, 2, 3. Testing, testing. Let's go. Alright. Let me mute myself. Seems my chat works. Alright. I think we're good to start. Alright, well, I wanted to show off what I've been working on. This is my new Corvette. Took quite a while collecting all the parts, looking at schematics of the original spaceship. If you can't tell, this is supposed to be the Defiant from Deep Space Nine. It's harder to tell from the ground. If I get above it, get it from just the right angle. There it is. Now, it's not quite perfect. I couldn't smooth out the saucer section as much as I had hoped. I might be able to get some more of these and use a few layers of these parts to sort of make this smoother. I don't know. This is a hab, though. I would have to give up this hab. I'm trying to think what's in here. This is like 10 forward, and this is the med bay, or vice versa. We got the pilot seat up front here, and that little section. In the show, that section could come out of the saucer section and fly around on its own. And then you'd have sort of the bridge crew in this section up here. On this ship, this section is purely ornamental. People would not fit inside of it. It's too small. The Defiant was quite a large ship. If you look at schematics, it was multiple decks. The uppermost part of it has the part that you'd see in the show. The bridge crew would be doing their thing just inside this section here when they'd be looking out the view screen. The view screen would basically be on the front of this right here. The little captain's chair would be right down under this section here. Now, in the schematics, this ship is so large that it's got a whole docking bay in the lower deck here where they'd park another ship, like a little runabout down in here. So that's kind of what this is, the section where the runabout would be stored, but for this scale, it's basically just a walkway to get into the ship. I had to have something connecting to the ground. I tried to smooth it out as much as possible, but it really does make my Defiant look a little bit pregnant. It's got kind of a baby bump going on. It's not as slim and trim as the one in the show. Now, I'm definitely not the first person to look at No Man's Sky's Corvette building and think, you know what, I could build the Defiant from Deep Space Nine. I watched several videos. Several other people tried to make this ship. And I looked at those designs and I said, nah, I could do better. I don't know if I did better. I'm humble, like, it could be worse. I don't know. This saucer section kind of looks like crap to me. I wish it was rounder and smoother. Hopefully, they will make some better saucer section parts. Like these corner parts, but bigger. Or connecting, so that, like, I can connect a corner piece to a end piece to a front piece to make a full saucer section that wraps around. That's kind of what I want. And hopefully Hello Games is working on it. As I understand it, they're making another expedition, planning to put it out fairly fast after this previous one. And I'm hoping that's going to have an expansion on the parts so that we can do a little bit more. Because what they've provided to us is great. Like, it's really, really great. You could do some cool stuff with it, but you could do more. You could do a lot more. Yeah, the illusion kind of breaks up if I get under the level of the saucer section. I'd say the worst part is right here. This tends to be the problem when you're making the Defiant and you're trying to make the saucer section. You're always going to get like the corners of a hab sticking out of it. Unless you're using glitches, and I'm scared to use glitches because I've got 400 hours in this save. I have been playing this one save since the very beginning. You can see I put pretty beefy engines in here. And I've tucked the weapons very carefully into the design. You'll know that Star Trek weaponry tends to be hidden. Like, if this was in Star Trek, the laser would come out of a line in the ship like this. But for me, I sort of tucked the cannon in against the hab, and it's half concealed by this saucer section here, so it almost gives the impression that my lasers are coming out of the saucer section. I worked some of these little piston-like parts in here to fill in the gaps, because it sort of looked like the engines were floating and not connected, so this makes them look more attached. Nicely layered parts in there. I like these pieces here. This makes a really nice back section. It's got some little fins. Now, one thing you'll notice is there's no windows here. And I was thinking, alright, every Star Trek ship has to have windows. If you're going to walk around inside the ship, you need to have windows to look out of the ship. So, what I did is I tucked them right here. This is a window looking into the ship. This is also where the deflector shields are hidden. So you can see those animating if you're looking out the window here. And I sort of fit it very nicely into this little groove. So you just have a little bit of a view through the slit here where you can see down and out of the ship from the lower decks. To get a little bit of that Star Trek feel. Here they've got the nacelles. I couldn't find enough parts to round this. I'm probably going to get some more of these and put them down here and swap out these parts to make it rounder. Because the original design had more of a roundness to it. I wish there was like a middle piece for this that I could tuck. Like if I could move this part down one to here and put a middle piece, then I'd have sort of a fat saucer section instead of this thin one with the parts sandwiched together. Alright. This is a pretty cool moon I found here, isn't it? Look at this. We got Saturn, we've got a green nebula, we've got a red planet, we've got another nebula. This moon's got these enormous structures on it, like the biggest mushrooms you've ever seen in your life. It's got meteor showers. Look at that. This is an incredibly cool moon. I posted a meme on all my socials saying, I'll see you on the moon. Well, this is the moon. Behold. Behold the moon. It's pretty friggin' cool. Alright, so we're coming up under the butt of the ship. You can see we got our nice fat deflector shields protecting the ass end of the ship. We've got the O2 tanks here so everybody on the ship can breathe. Got the nacelles, got the back. You got these big ass engines here. Now, in the Star Trek design, I don't think the engines were hanging out the ass like that. I might need to stick a part here and then have this part extend out to here so that it's flush with this here. Yeah, and you can see I tucked some more of those pistons up in there to sort of connect this part to that. I really want to try to make the whole thing like this middle section here. I'm not sure if I should even keep these bigger engines. I might just do multiple smaller engines and just tuck them into a little sandwich clamshell. Now, here we have the Ambassador hatch. I used all Ambassador parts. I just noticed my decal is sticking through the bottom. That's kind of stupid. Well. So, here we have the entrance to the ship. And here we have the little med pod thing here. Now, in the description of the med pod, it says the med pod must be attached to the wiring of the airlock for full functionality. And I have no clue what that means, but this is the airlock, so I put it here. Whatever functionality that unlocks, I have unlocked it. Alright, so here we get up into deck 69, and deck 69 is the lower decks, and from here you can observe the stars below, and you can enjoy a nice meal. I didn't put tables in. I feel like if I was going to do tables, it would get a little cramped. It's cramped enough having to go around these counters. But I did want to have multiple nutrient processors because I have been doing a lot of cooking. Like, just in my inventory right now, you can see I've got some herbal crunchies made out of Nip Nip buds. Those black market Nip Nip buds. I've been growing a lot of those. And I've got 88 Stellarator donuts. You eat these and your mining is increased 64%. And I got ice cream that makes me run faster, or my run stamina regenerates quicker, something like that. And that's just the 3 that I've got with me. I've got my entire Colossus, just like a food truck, stacked top to bottom, floor to ceiling, with good foodstuffs. Now, I put decals all over the place. We got the 69 here. We got the monster that's sticking through on the bottom. I don't like the fact that I can see it on the bottom. Here we have lower storage. This is storage 0, 1, 2, and 3, and I don't put hardly anything in these, so this is like shit storage. It's got some eggs that I don't want. Got excess ammo. Yeah, here's some more cream fingers, haunted wafers, herbal crunchies. I got tooth pickers, apple rolls. I've been cooking a lot. And I've been collecting some bones. I got a lot of bones. Eventually I'm going to set up a base, build a bunch of displays, make it a little museum. So here we have the lower deck as I explained. 2 decks set up. Got my little save point here. And then we go up into the upper deck. And right here we have easy access to the pilot seat, and I'm just going to take us right into space. It's kind of weird approaching this planet and seeing these enormous mushrooms. This thing feels like a bus. It's not the most maneuverable ship, bit of space mining, test out my weapons a little bit. Alright. What do you think of my character? My little red Gek man. With my little staff. So here's a little cubby hole for him to sleep. A little pilot seat. Mission radar. Good stuff. When you come up from the lower decks, you have easy access to the pilot seat. That's always important. You can run to it pretty quick from the back. Put up a bunch of waving flags. They clip a little bit, but I think they look nice, and the walls are so concave, you can't really hang much on them, so the flags are a nice little bit of decor. So, looking to the left, we got food processor. Looking to the right, we have the refiner unit. Wait, camera bugs. So, here you can see that I have been trying to craft fusion igniters. The stack of 16 fusion igniters is worth 249.6 million units. So I make a bunch of that stuff, and then I sell it. I get that money, and I use that money to upgrade this ship. I'm currently down to 45 million. I'm a temporarily embarrassed billionaire. But I'll get it back. I've been crunching all of my crafting components together into some super valuable stuff. I'm going to plant a whole bunch of nip-nip buds in all of these. This is going to be a big contraband ship. I'm going to plant mega nip-nip buds all over the place. More decals. Trophy walls. Guns. Boy, this was real hard to attach. It's clipped in very carefully. Very carefully. So here I'm kind of towards the ass end. You can see the pilot seat way up there. And I got my green flags here. So from the green flags to the left and the right, we've got two of the side rooms. So, you know, captain's room up front, obviously. And then over here, this is what I'm going to call sort of like the doctor's office, right? We got some nice green lighting. We got the first aid kit, hazard protection unit. Can put some more plants in here. But this is sort of the waiting area when you're waiting for your doctor visit, or you need to do a little psychiatric healing. When you're traumatized after going on board a scary abandoned freighter or something like that, you need to talk to your therapist. You can sit in here. And then over here, this is sort of where the science officer's room is. He's got a nice little desk that he can sit at here. Nah, he can just spin his chair. He doesn't sit. He's too busy for that. I put some panels along the walls here, so he's got lots of displays to read. He's got his data storage here for all of the collected lore. After he takes his little nap, he can come out here, and he's got all sorts of technology. And this connects right over here to the food area. This is sort of the main food area. That's not right. I put the wrong container in here. That's supposed to be 4. I think that's 5. Oopsie. I'll swap them around. I put this hanging chandelier in here in between the red flags. I think that looks pretty nice. My character is short enough that I don't clip it. So here we have the better storage. We got my stack overflow. We got Ah, here it is. So this is supposed to be next to the food. This is sort of all of my churned butter and tangy cheese and all the refined flour and sugar and all that good stuff. So I've been cooking a lot. And then this one, this is sort of the treasure vault for all of my hard frame engines and my walker brains for all my combat sessions. And if I need charts, I got my charts in here. Some of my legendary fish, just an assortment of valuables. And here we've got a variety of upgrades. I could probably apply some of these upgrades. I haven't gotten around to it. Alright, so we got the USS Defiant Ninja. I've upgraded it to Class A with 35,000 nanites. I need to get another, 3,000 nanites, and I'll be able to upgrade it to Class S with 25,000. And then I just need money, money, money so I can fill in all of these inventory slots. And what I haven't done is I haven't repositioned much here. I moved around my thrusters and launch thrusters and stuff like that, but I didn't really position much else. Unfortunately, when you edit the Corvette, it shuffles these around, so there's not much point to doing a careful positioning of everything. This is supposed to be next to that, which is supposed to be attached to the engine? No. This one? No. This one? No. So these ones all link. So I do want to have the deflector shields together. I didn't even have my guns attached. Ugh. What's this for? Launch. And then this one. Oh. Is this part of it too? Doesn't seem to be. Okay. Perfect. Well, I'm sure that was riveting entertainment watching me reposition all these things, but if you didn't know how to position all of your stuff, this is sort of how you want to do it. You want to get everything so it lights up. And I've heard there is some adjacency bonus, although I can't really tell where you want to put like your B's attached to each other and your S's attached to each other. Like maybe I should put this one here and then it's attached to that, and then this one here and then it's attached to both of them. So, photon cannon, phase beam. Do I have those? Photon cannon, phase beam. Alright, photon cannon. No phase beam. But I got one of the things. So, that'll make my guns a little stronger. I wish I could get a little more maneuverability. I need more technology slots. I wish there was a way to get more supercharged slots. If there is, I don't know it. Alright. So, we got storage in the back. This is the good storage. Downstairs was sort of the crud storage. Got lots of access between all of the areas here, so it doesn't feel quite so cramped. Oh, you know what? I got an idea. Maybe. Maybe I'll put the table right in the middle here. Alright, so we got the cooking area. We got some seating. And then we got an area where you can stand and eat. We got the refining area. Alright, so that's the tour of the ship. Not much more to see right there. Son of a bitch. Did you see them cockblock me? I was pressing the button to warp and then they warped in and blocked me. I gotta take a look while we're at... Oh no. I've fallen. Bump. I was going too fast, I guess. Hold on, let me try that again. That's too funny. It's a little janky. Alright, let me try to move a little slower. You know what, maybe third person's doing me wrong. I just want to go downstairs. Can I go downstairs? There we go. Now we're getting the true Star Trek experience. Watching the stars whiz by. Just gotta watch out you don't get ripped out of your ship mid-flight. I wonder if that's a ladder issue. Oh yeah. Incredible. I'm gonna go to one of my bases here. I knew it was in the system, I was just looking around for it. So this is my most recent base. I call this one the Predator base because there's more than one Predator on this planet. Normally, you don't encounter like any, and sometimes you'll get a quest where it's like, kill X number of Predators, and you'll spend an hour just going planet hopping, and you'll go to a dozen planets and none of them will have a single Predator. So I have now solved that problem forever, because if I need to kill Predators, I can just warp right here to this planet, kill a few, grab some salvageable scrap, and be out. I've also been collecting Regis grease from one of the Predators, which is pretty hard to acquire. You can see I've only got 10. And some leopard fruit from the other Predator. I also came out here because I needed basalt. I didn't have any basalt. One thing I don't like about ships of this length is that if you look at the back of my ship when I'm at the front, where did it go? There it is. Fade in. I'm not a fan. So, I don't know, they either needed to make the maximum length of the ship a little bit shorter, or maybe extend the view distance a little bit. One way or the other, you know? So, you'll notice my Minotaur is AI autopilot active, and it's going to be here to guard me, because shit is mean on this planet. Except these dudes are kind of friendly. You got enough food, brother? Yeah, he's got enough creature pellet. So, I've got some power. I got some batteries. Milk. Warm proto milk. Delicious. So you can see there's not much going on here at this base. I've got the batteries here. I've got the livestock unit collecting all of the goodies from the creatures out here. When I got to this planet, there were sentinels attacking me constantly, but I murdered them all. And since then, I haven't been bothered. And I collect my worm proto-milk, and I turn it into proto-cream and proto-cheese in my nutrient processors here. So, not much going on here. This is basically just an example of the kind of food acquiring base that I build. But basically, I just wanted a big landing pad so I could summon my other ship. Wait a minute. Hold on. Alright, so on to Corvette number 2. I'll go into photo mode here. It's currently a little too dark. Alright. Now, when I was doing the expedition, the problem with expeditions is you're not allowed to keep anything, but you are allowed to export a ship. And this was the expedition where you collect Corvette parts and build a ship. So, in theory, you could keep everything that you got from the expedition, but you could only keep it if you could attach it to the ship and export it. And also, if I try to take the parts off of this ship, it doesn't seem to work. It deletes them. Like, I deleted a couple things off the back here, I think, but it didn't give them to me. I don't know, maybe that's a bug. Maybe it's intentional. Maybe you're just supposed to get the ship and then go build your own. But this is the result when you want to keep everything and you just need to attach what you got. So this is the throwing spaghetti at a wall and seeing what sticks. Like, what can I attach where? I'm not going to say there was no rhyme or reason to the attachments, because I definitely did make it symmetrical and somewhat pretty. Although at times I'm just kind of sticking things on there, like these engine parts don't make a lot of sense where they're at. They'd be burning themselves a lot. I like logical consistency in my designs. You'd never put an engine there, but that's just the only spot I had to stick it, and I didn't want to lose it. Another example of me hoarding parts is I definitely don't need 3 of these hydraulic elevator landing bays and a regular landing bay. That's just sort of overkill, but what the hell, I wanted everything. I wanted all of it, and I got almost everything. You know, surprisingly enough, this wasn't the entirety of what I had collected during the expedition. I collected even more than this. But I hit the complexity limit, and you're allowed to put on cosmetic pieces beyond the complexity limit, but then you're limited by attachment points. There's only so many attachment points to stick things, and I basically hit that limit in addition to the complexity limit of real parts with technology. Now, I'm not going to do much of a tour of this ship because you'll notice there's not anything. Like, I did not decorate. I did not plan. I did not coordinate my habs. I'm using 3 or 4 different kinds of habs in this ship here. Alright. Out in space proper. I'm gonna do the fly around. It's an interesting looking ship. I don't hate it. It is at the complexity limit, and it's big and it's bulky, and it's probably slow to load. It's also not incredibly maneuverable. I believe it's still a C class. I never upgraded it. But it's a spaceship for sure. You can see that one trail is going right through my cargo pods. That's not ideal. All these dudes are like, buy me, buy me. So, my Corvette, the maximum size Corvette, is still pretty small compared to a frigate. You can see the frigate is rather big, with my Corvette parked right alongside it. Big old frigates. Insistently trying to call me. I'm not going to respond. Great victory today. Interloper should see enemy ship, but need Neguang now. The Vi Queens like me more. They finally like me. Alright. So that is Corvette number 2. Alright, I needed a regular ship for a minute. Because the next stop is going to require a regular ship. The problem with Corvettes is they're gigantic. So if you teleport to a base when you've got a Corvette, sometimes what they'll do is they'll clip into your base in a way where it kicks you out of your ship into your base, but with your ship clipped into your base so that you can't exit your base. It's very annoying. So I have learned if I want to use the teleporter, I basically need to leave my Corvette behind and get a regular size ship. I haven't used this ship in a while. I got this one from one of the expeditions. It is definitely a weird UFO. It's even got the rotating red light going around the outside. It's pretty cool. From here, we have gone to my settlement. This dude just got back from a expedition. I can get nanites, or I can increase the reserves. I'll increase the reserves here. Get rid of some of my settlement's debt. Population 82. We're making cactus flesh and star bulb. Space-time anomaly shielding decreases maintenance cost. Dihydrogen workshop increases productivity. Resident cartographer increases productivity. Galactic Bazaar increases productivity. Quantum Trading Floor increases productivity. Carbon Factory increases productivity. Pioneer Spirit, prepared for anything. And yet, they're very unhappy. I've never been able to get their happiness above 30. They're very productive, though. They're putting on a little fireworks display. Teleport coordinators, huh? I don't have that. I wonder where I get a teleport coordinator. insufficient indium for rump. There we go. I had some ionized cobalt. So here we have my one and only settlement. You can have multiple settlements, so one of these days I'm going to make a new settlement. But this one's alright. It's pretty big. It's got a lot of stuff. Probably can't see very much because of the time of day. So we'll rotate the sun around a little bit so we get a better view. Here comes the sun. Da, 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 da. There it is. All right. Ah, I hit the wrong button. Okay, well, let's try that again. I'm on controller, so it's just a real slip of the thumb. There we go. X, not B, X. So here we can see Mos Eisley. You may think to yourself, boy, that doesn't look like Mos Eisley. Mos Eisley is on a desert planet. Funny of you to think that, because this was a desert planet, but after the world's expansion, my desert biome planet suddenly became incredibly fungal and green. All of my desert biome plants turned into these weird polyps and rocky growths and ugly trees. Should probably just rename this place. Find myself a different actual desert planet. Name that one Mos Eisley instead. Oi, you looking at me? Alright. On to the next thing. Alright, so I made a bunch of farms. Now, as I described earlier, I am approaching broke with a measly 45 million units. So I'll show you a little bit of what I do to make some money in this game. Alright, so this is a farm that I built. It's not pretty, but it is sitting on an indium vein, and it is making a lot of activated indium right now, filling all of these containers up. I've got my storage things hiding this nasty hole here that I fell into many times. I decided I'm not going to fall in that hole anymore. I don't want to go in that cave. I walled it off. So, whenever I visit one of these farms, I just have to grab up all of my resources. Pick all my star bulbs, all my selenium, all my fungal mold. Turns out a lot of these items are actually useful for cooking. You can turn them into a lot of the ingredients that you would need. Like frostwort turns into grain. $25,500 indium, worth 3.3 million units. Very industrial. If I look into space, you can see I've got a base there. And technically there's 3 in this system here. So this is indium base 1 and 2. And then we got indium mine 2. I like this one a lot. Let me show you around a little bit. Alright, so we got the base terminus here. We got the little desk where, you know, in theory, somebody could meet and greet. Got a little box in here where you can do your trading and whatnot. This here is my number 6. That's where I keep all my foods. And I've basically set this up like a little restaurant. So I've got all my food processors here, and out here we've got the mine. Grab another 18,000 activated indium. Let's see what's going on here. It's nighttime, and there are only a couple wildfires going at my base here. This planet is incredibly hot, and I built my base inside of a mountain. Like I tunneled into the mountain. I built that base in here. If I need to go to my ship, check it out. There's glass windows here, looking in at the rock, the bare rock wall. I think it's a pretty cool effect. It kind of reminds me of certain caves I've been to where they would have sort of a glass walled off area where you could see the natural cave on the other side. Look at this big dumb tree growing right in the landing pad here. Got these big pipes sticking into the walls. I think it's a pretty cool effect. I made a couple subterranean bases, but I kind of stopped doing it because every time they update the planets, it causes a lot of the interiors to be filled with rock. You can see here I've sort of cleared a path. But I occasionally have to clean up in here because it gets filled up with trash. Alright, so we did Indium 1 plus Farm 2. That was Indium 2. Here's Indium 3. And these are all within the same system. I went planet hopping, and I just kept using my scanning visor until I'd find a good spot where I could do both a good resource harvest and often sometimes like a power thing. You can get unlimited power from the planet from certain spots. Go. So this planet's a bit of a mess. This is gonna make it hard because it's nighttime. So I did double resources here. I set up these ones. But I also set up a gas mine. Finding it, that is the hard part though. Let's see, so here we go. So we got the one line going here, we got the other line going there. You can see I built myself a little path to follow. Alright, so way over there you can see my power generation. But halfway to that power production is my nitrogen farm. Thank you very much. This one's a little bit of a hassle. I almost never have an easy time finding that nitrogen harvester over there. And you can see how far it is from my base. It's a real hassle. Especially if it's nighttime, it's real hard to see. Nighttime in a bubble storm. I'm really not a fan of this planet. I'm not a fan of this kind of planet. It's just a little too much visual clutter. But as I recall, there were some pretty cool animals here, and they were producing some things that I needed, so At one point, I was just hanging out here farming. All right, that was 3. I think now we're going to a different system. Pretty sure I got the cadmium and sulfur in a different system. Delicious sulfurine. Oh, hey, another producer of Regis grease. Man, look at this goofy thing. It's a dinosaur rat antelope. Like a dino jackalope. Dino rat jackalope. Something along those lines. So it looks like I had this set up to do cadmium from the autonomous mining units. I really don't have time to sit here and do that. Not right now. So I am just going to grab my resources and run. Some of these bases I have not been to in a long time. Over the course of many expeditions, I have made a lot of bases. This is a pretty cool design. I like how it's up on this raised platform. I do not like how my ship is parked inside of it, though. That is fucked. I guess this base needs a docking platform. I wonder why I never bothered to build one. Hmm. 500,000 instead of 50,000. That makes a huge difference which gun I'm using. Look at that ugly bastard. These things are so gross. Can you imagine if this actually existed? Look how tall it is. This disgusting sack. This hairy ridged sack. This nutsack alien. Hopping on its nutsack ass is easily 6 or 7 feet tall, right? and it produces sticky honey. Nightmare fuel. Let's see what kind of pets I've got. Spellini. Oh yeah, we doing it now. Up, up, and away. I got myself a flying sandworm. What else we got? Fragast. Bet you didn't know you could do this, huh? Look at his twin dicks. His dicks have hooves on the ends. That's a cool pet. I like it. What else I got? I got a little robot. This reminds me of a really boring movie from the 80s called Batteries Not Included. Why are you heartbroken, little robot? Are you hungry? What do you need? You need an ion battery. Yeah, so there was a movie called Batteries Not Included about little tiny robots that came from outer space and some old people found them. It looks like one of those. And then we got one of these. These are the little bastards that hang out on the crashed freighters, or not the crashed freighters, but the you know, the disabled ones in space that you can explore. The abandoned freighters. These things are really annoying to fight. Their flight AI is really stupid, and they always get stuck in walls and ceilings. And they're very small and hard to hit. And if you're on controller, the aiming sucks. It's so floaty and stupid. Gotta use some of my batteries. And last and definitely least, Rucola Wajava. I think this is probably the first pet that I acquired, and I just grabbed it just because. I think it was part of some sort of quest or objective. It's probably worth replacing at some point, if I get a better pet. I never got real deep into the genetic deal where you modify the eggs and change the change the scale of your creature or the coloration, things like that. But maybe someday I'll try to make a really big fragasse. That might be fun. I thought I had a giant bug too, but I think maybe I got that in an expedition and it just didn't carry over, so I'll have to go find a new giant bug. Dang, how did I get so far away from this base? No power, huh? Maybe I never established this base. Like, it doesn't even have a supply depot. Cactus flesh and starbold makes polyfiber. This is sort of a major bottleneck on making those really valuable items. Until full. Really, I should do about 4 or 5 times as many of those, but I don't know. This is not very interesting, so I am just going to get out of here. If I can find my portal. Yeah, it's way over there. Selenium. I don't need any of that. Friggin' holes, man. Look at that. Look at that deep hole that I just walked into. These resources are really, really far away from the base where I spawned. That makes this a not ideal location. the other thing I wanted to show off was my Colossus inventory. Look at how much food I have made. I have made all of the food. And by all, I mean not even half. I don't know if you are a completionist in the way that I am, but I look at this screen right here, and it says recipes known 178 out of 432, or blueprints known 608 out of 925, and those numbers are what make me keep playing. Those right there. Until I have everything, I will keep at it. So we did a bunch of resource gathering bases. I want to show off this one. This is my most recent base. Previous to the Predator base. The Predator base I don't consider a real base. That's just sort of a resource gathering spot, like a hot spot. But this one's like a legit base that I built up. No Colump Alpha. So you can see I've got nice windows looking out onto a very cold planet. Over here we've got my ship. This base is set up so it's a nice little hub. Got some more plants I can grab here. Basically, from right here, when you come out of the portal, we got a little staircase that goes up to the farm on the roof. And then there's a second staircase that goes down right here. And this is sort of like the under area here. Right here's where I harvest a lot of bone nuggets from these things. I make bone milk. And these little guys, they make regular milk from their tiny teats. And these guys, they make the wild milk. So I get like 3 kinds of milk out of this place. And you can see the animals are already starting to gather, so this is like a really good gathering spot. And down here on the bottom floor, this is my little restaurant. People can have a seat, food can be made, we got a galactic terminal, got some displays. When you come out of the restaurant, we got this structure here that goes up the mountainside. If we go up inside here, we got some nice plants in the wall. This is my illegal Nip Nip Buds farm. I'm gonna harvest all of my black market Nip Nip Buds. And with these plants, I'm going to be able to fill in all of my Corvette plant slots. And then I'll be growing Nip Nip Buds in space. Kind of try to do something interesting with the architecture on this building here. Make a little grow house. here, we got windows looking down on the plants. Over there, more windows looking down on those plants that we just collected. And then on into the final grow house to collect the last of my nip-nip buds. This is going to be really big money here. All right. And then looking down on the base from this angle, see, I got my comms tower. Got a nice staircase that goes up into the greenhouse. Set up a little tonal output and some bubble clusters. Inside the comms tower, I've got my save point. And then here, this is a little habitation area. Get toasty by the fire on this cold, cold planet. Look at that. Now this is the reason that I built this base right here, is these mutant plants right here. And I call this the mutant plant base, because of this node of mutant plants. I also put in a little supply depot to grab some radon. Now, the way to do this is I go to my nutrient ingester. And if I eat my cream buns, it says 57% resources mined. And then I switch over to my staff here. It's got a runic lens. And now, if I grab this guy, look at that. 35,000. No. That's more than 40,000 sulfurine. I think I got some earlier too that's been added to the stack. So, you know, sulfurine was kind of a bottleneck for producing some of the parts that I needed. And I needed a lot of it. And this base is the answer. This base has solved my sulfurine needs completely. Like, I have all the sulfurine and all the nip-nip buds that I could ever want. Do the aerial view. I really like this base. I put a bunch of work into it, and I think it's nice. It uses several different construction type parts. It's using the scrap Atlantidinium for most of it. It's using a little bit of the original base parts for this core part over here. It's using some of the wood and stone platforms and walls. Just overall, I really like this base. It does a lot of cool things. It's a huge money maker. It's where I produce most of my food because I'm generating so much milk right here. You really can't produce a lot of the high-end food items without a really good supply of milk. So setting up a little farm like this is ideal. And now this is like really boring, but basically what I'll do is I'll run around until a bunch of animals spawn in this vicinity here, and then I'll go inside and I'll start crafting in here. And I'll just run back and forth from my crafting to my storage container to my farm thing, occasionally refilling the pellet dispenser, and basically, as long as I stay right here, all the animals will spawn in and they'll begin generating milk. And as long as I don't leave, they'll continue generating milk. And I can basically just go AFK and do things in real life and leave it running for an hour, and I'll come back and there will be like a stack of 100 of each kind of milk in this thing here. So if you want to get into the food crafting, this is the way to do it. Alright, we're in the home stretch now. I've only got maybe 3 places I want to show off now. So this is my Twin Towers base. Unfortunately, it broke. It used to be more functional, and now it's kind of busted. So, it looks like a regular base when you look at it here, right? Like just a few halves. I've painted them red. If I start going over here, you can see I've got a collection of Exocraft, and there's some weird glass walkways. And what do they connect to? Well, they connect to the Twin Towers. At one point, the Twin Towers were both red and complete, but when the Worlds update happened, it did something. Each of these was stacked end on end on end on end all the way up, and not all of them have a ladder. What I did is I sort of alternated, so you'd go down a ladder and then across, and then down a ladder and then across. But at some point, the linkage broke, and it sealed up the holes on some of the ladders. So you can see, like that one, there's no hole. The ladder goes into the ceiling, and you're unable to climb into this area where you used to be able to get into this area. And you used to be able to get into this one, and I started sort of taking things apart trying to get it to work. But like here you can see that this was a room with a glass window and some furniture in it, and I had to sort of delete it to get out of there because I was stuck and there was no exit. And I tucked all of my storage containers into this little area here. I think this looks pretty nice. Decorated little area. A couple tables. A few storage crates to collect. Tucked nicely underneath the ship landing pad. I can't really do the inside tour because a lot of these don't connect anymore. This is an extremely broken base. But you can see here it's got this giant staircase that goes down here. And it actually used to connect all the way down to the bottom, but it no longer does. Boy, this is really interesting. Hold on. Yeah, it just wasn't loading, I think. Yeah, it does connect all the way to the bottom. So you get a really cool view of the Twin Towers from here. And I have a little teleport pad that goes right here. And from here, I am in the Twin Towers at the very top. So I just warp from way down there to right here. I actually furnished a bunch of these segments. It's kind of unfortunate this base broke. And it's real hard to fix it. Here, if I look in these windows, you can see decoration. And down in here, there's even no way to get into these ones anymore. Let's see. Sealed. This one connects. This one connects. So the idea was to alternate. Go up a ladder, go across, go up a ladder, go across. But here you can see this is where it runs out. And I wasn't even done yet. I was going to make a whole bunch of glass, and I was going to turn the entire tower into a glass tower all the way to the top. It was going to be super cool until it broke. Well, maybe I will take this idea and run with it and make another similar base. Make it on a different, better planet. I'm curious what this is. I don't even remember making this base. This was probably made right when the game first came out. Chances are it's going to be a busted base like that last one. It's a little weird that I don't have any roofs. I do believe I am under the ground here. Yep. Basically, that's what happens. You build an underground base, and it's just gonna get filled with rock. Alright, I kind of remember this base now. Yeah, I never put in roofs. So here I was kind of experimenting with building like an underground base along the lines of like a fallout shelter kind of deal. Incorporating a lot of stonework from the natural environment. It's a super cool idea, but unfortunately the terrain regeneration causes it to all come back once in a while, so if there was a little bit more permanence to the terrain deformation, it would be a cool base design. But building underground bases is they're always going to have this problem where you occasionally have to go around and tunnel them out again. But you can see this is like a really cool underground base with lighting. I actually built all the power cables to light this entire underground facility in several different shades. And it's got its own power supply with these electromagnetic generators. Kind of a dingy fungal world. Alright. So, Iwudub Daza Agionemark system. You discovered this. So I've shown a lot of bases, and if there's one base that I consider like my main primary base, it is this one. This is the one that I consider my little home away from home. The real deal. A 4 Sirius base. It's on a moon. That's the planet there. It's a lush moon. Here's my electromagnetic generators generating power for the base. Here's my storage chambers here. Alright, and we're inside. I put a little teleporter to connect it. Now we're inside the pyramid. Over Over here we got my kitchen. Could do a little nutrient processing. There's a bunch of stuff in here. There's a little door that goes outside. Over here, this is sort of the machine shop. We've got some weird technology going on. Towards the middle, this is sort of like through the main entrance. You can see this is my wall of expedition. What do you call those? Decals. Expedition decals. And I've done every expedition. There's probably 2 or 3 that I haven't put up on the wall yet, but I've got them. And over here's the little bedroom area. Got my posters up. Reminds me a little bit of my childhood bedroom. I had a lot of posters on the wall. Over here we got the bar. Got some seating, tables. Got some hookahs. So everyone can sit around the hookah bar. More posters on the walls here. Everything's heavily decorated. You can see the skylight way up at the top with my flags. Come out here onto the back porch. Connects into the kitchen here. Boy, this planet is just perpetually stormy. I'm going to go into camera mode so we can just get the wide view. You can get a look at the architecture. I really like the stairs that I set up in the front here. It creates a sort of interesting funnel into the main entrance. Hookah bar just inside here. You can look in the window and see it. Oh, I'm missing a panel. I can see into the undercarriage of the building. So, it's not actually a pyramid. From the angle that you initially look at it from, it has the look of a pyramid almost, but it's really an optical illusion because it's this other shape. We got some fancy exocrafts here, all black with the OK hand symbol. Got my food truck. Got my AI combat mech. And my motorcycle. And last but not least, let's go check out my freighter. call it the System Dominator. It's not an S class, it's just like a C class or something like that, but it's the Star Destroyer looking one. So it's this freighter here. I like it. It's a B. Not a C, a B. Alright, so basically from my freighter here, we've got the base terminus. And the base terminus connects to stairs that go down to the pilot area. It's sort of a straight shot to the pilot area down the stairs from the base terminus. To the left and to the right, I've got Assistant Vag. That's hilarious. Hello, Assistant Vag. Are you working hard? Ooh, he's an S-Class Industrial Specialist. Isn't he fancy? Alright. Well. So, when I send my crews out on missions, all of my little frigates, they report to these terminals here. On this side over here, this is sort of my industrial section, so we've got a couple of large refiners. And to the left here, we got 0, 1, 2, and this connects into the back, where I've got a farm. And then if we hang to the right here, we've got 3, 4, 5, 7, 8, and 9. 6 is upstairs next to the food processors, because that's where I keep all my food in number 6. Tucked into the corner here, we got the technology specialist, or the construction specialist, I mean. Look out onto the freighter here. See the frigates flying around. So this is like the industrial half. We got some hallways that connect to the back. Hallway 1, hallway 2. Right here, this is my trade terminal. And if we just run to the back, we've got just a whole lot of farming set up. I got my exocraft thing. Got a number 2 here. And just a wide variety of farming things. Just gonna loot all my stuff real quick. Very good. If I go over here, I've got another one of these fleet command stations. This one's actually active. See, he got money. More money. More money. Nitrogen salts. Salvage frigate module. That's fantastic. Pyrite grease. I could sell that. Trade item. More money. Albumin pearls. I could sell those. More money. It's cool that I got another salvaged frigate item. Another 3 million credits. I'm probably going to be able to send my crews out on missions. There's some good ones. Here's a good trade expedition. 3-star. Three-star. Can they do it? Maybe I should send another trade ship. Send one of my lower quality ones, just to put it into the 4-star. That way there's less chance of them busting. Here we've got a nice combat patrol for my high-level combat guys. Like, Victory of the Ibaria is real strong. And I'll send him some backup too. I'll send Daddle's Gambit. Right now it's even, so I'll give them some explosive drones just to make it a little easier on them. And they're still not at 4-star, so... There we go, 4-star. I had to send a 3rd ship. Here's an explorer mission. Owl of Truth could probably handle it by himself. I'll just give him a fuel oxidizer, send him on his way. We got an easy balanced mission. Let's see, industrial trade. Combat. 3-star when I only need 1. I've got the fuel to burn though. A basic combat patrol. Let's see, I'll just send... Do I have a weaker one? I do not. I'll send them both. Alright, that's all the missions I can do. So, that's the freighter. Well, I guess the last thing I can show off is my little ship collection. So over here we've got my UFO. Never renamed it. It's a little bit of a cross between a UFO and the Millennium Falcon, but instead of a cockpit it's got an engine of some kind. Real interesting design on that one. Here we have an S-Class Tri-Blade. I like the design a lot. If you look at my ship here, 2 of the blades turn into 1 wing. Isn't that a cool design? I really like it. That is a very cool ship. It's got such a cute little profile, too. Very vertical. Over here. Got a shitty C-class Sentinel ship. I should really try to find a better Sentinel ship than this one. Not exactly my favorite design. It's cool. A little bit of a TIE Fighter-ish design almost. Over here we have the S-Class Tang Viper. I really like this ship. I think the design is super cool. Like the wings, the way they sweep over, like the way it's got little nacelles on the sides. Everything about this ship is cool. I like it a lot. And my favorite ship, the Golden Vector. The Golden Vector, S-Class, extremely upgraded, full of loot, often used. I'd say this is my primary starship. Comes from one of the expeditions. It's very gold, very shiny. I like it a lot. Well, with that, I bring to a close my epic, slightly more than 2-hour tour of No Man's Sky. I've showed off most of my interesting bases. I've showed off my freighter. I've showed off both of my Corvette designs. So hopefully you have enjoyed what I have had on offer, all of my creative designs. And that'll be that. Thanks for watching. Catch you later.